Ali asks, hey Sean, thoughts on Kevin Conroy passing away? And I almost put out a video yesterday about this. If you don't know, Kevin Conroy is the actor who voiced Batman in Batman the Animated Series. And then he continued on into Batman Beyond, and then the Justice League series, and then the Batman Arkham games, and then continuing on from there was also in a number of the DC movies. And so he's been the definitive voice of Batman for 30 years. And when Batman the Animated Series came out, I was the target audience. They designed the show, Fox Kids was for people my age at that point in time in the 90s. And it just happened to be the definitive best version of Batman that we've ever gotten. So for almost my entire life that I can remember, he's been the voice of Batman. I've said it many times, Batman the Animated Series is my favorite animated show of all time. It's phenomenal. It's weird that it got made the way that it was made, where they were like drawing on black paper. They have an actual orchestral score for the show. I mean, it's much more mature than animated shows typically are that are designed for children. It's just an amazing accomplishment. And then the voice cast was just phenomenal, where obviously Kevin Conroy was so good at it. He voiced the role all the way until his death 30 years later. And then Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, is the Joker. And they didn't even promote it that way. And so it's just this very special show that people loved. It was just phenomenal. And then we find out, as far as I know, out of the blue, that he passed away. And he died from cancer. I wasn't aware that he had cancer. I'm not sure if that was public information or something that he was battling in private. WB had a pretty quick response with the talent that worked with him for years, Mark Hamill included. They very quickly were able to put a statement out, so I suspect that they knew, but it wasn't something I was aware of. So I'm not sure where that kind of falls in things. And he was 66, so he wasn't young. But he also wasn't in that age category where someone normally dies, in which case it felt like it came out of nowhere. And as I mentioned before, he would be one of those, childhood, big pieces of my childhood that continued on to an adult life. I still believe Batman the Animated Series is the best animated show of all time. And he was the star of it. And he was the star of these fantastic Batman games and so many other things. And then, kind of out of the blue, passes. That's always hard. And it just kind of reminds you of the fact that life is precious, that all of us only have so much time to treasure the moments that we do have. But, and I don't mean to be sappy and just drop cliches, but cliches are cliches because there's a truth to them that resonate with a lot of people. And so, for me, it hit pretty hard because it was someone that kind of goes so far back with my whole, almost my whole life that I can remember. He has been the voice of Batman, and, it's just really sad to lose him. And once again, not that 66 is young, but he was born the same year as my mother. And it's the sort of things like that just remind you of just how precious life is. And you only have so much time. Kind of a follow-up question on that one. Savin said, good afternoon, Sean. Hope it's okay to ask. It may be hard to pick, but do you have a favorite project featuring Kevin Conroy? I would just generically go with Batman the Animated Series. I've said it many times, that's my favorite animated show of all time. I think it's a special show. Of course, the movie that followed up, Mask of the Phantasm, that dropped while the show was running, phenomenal. Just a great Batman story with an original villain, an origin story, classic characters. It's got kind of everything in there. But that original run of Batman the Animated Series, Mask of the Phantasm, that to me is the best. After that point in time, they still did great, phenomenal things like Justice League, but to me, that's it. That's the top thing.